You have multiple roles when you are sitting down at a table to play a tabletop role-playing game. That includes being yourself, being a gamer, being a role player, and being a storyteller. This series is talking about collaborative storytelling and how to do it well so that you are creating stories that your players and yourself will remember. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Dungeon Brew.
Welcome back, everybody, to Dungeon Brew. Today we are going to be diving into one of the most important and rewarding aspects of tabletop RPGs, collaborative storytelling. Now, if you've been playing TTRPGs, you've probably already experienced this concept in action. Collaborative storytelling is what happens when the game master and the players come together to create this living, breathing narrative. Everyone contributes. The GM has built a world and sets the stage, but the players have choices, and those choices drive the story forward. Their character arcs become more dynamic as a result of those choices, and you have unique interactions that can come about as a result of those. So if you are a game master that is just railroading your characters on a gravy train, or you are a player who is just playing the same character with the same personality traits over and over and over again for 25 sessions, you may be ruining the collaborative storytelling process. There should be an ongoing dynamic happening around the table for everyone involved. This is what makes TTRPGs so unique. It's supposed to be a shared experience. About 2 years ago, my wife and I did a series on narrative design on this channel. I'm going to be talking about a lot of those same concepts, and it's okay if you never heard of narrative design before. It's simply the act of crafting engaging stories within the game. It's about creating a framework where you have everyone emotionally and mentally invested, whether that's through your world building, through the character development, or the twists and turns of the great plot that has been constructed. And sometimes those twists and turns really do come from the players making decisions. See, that's the real difference between a TTRPG and, let's say, a video game. In TTRPGs, the narrative isn't pre-written. It's dynamic, it's flexible, it evolves in real time based on the contributions of everybody around the table. And as the GM, you're not so much of a storyteller as you are the facilitator of storytelling. I think that's the best way to think about the role of the game master. You are the facilitator of the storytelling that is taking place around the table. And as a player, you're not just along for the ride. You are shaping the story with the decisions that you make. In the beginning of this video, I talked about how there's different roles that you have as a player. As a gamer, you may be considering the mechanics that you use in order to exact the decisions that you're making within the game. As a role player, you may be putting yourself within the character's shoes and making decisions outside of the mechanics that really speak to the personality or the individual that you are. But as a storyteller, you are also making decisions that fit within the framework of the story that's being told around the table with the other players. Are you allowing for a greater story to be told, for something to build on top of itself, to give other people a chance to be part of the collaboration that's taking place? Or are you cutting them off at the knees and preventing them from really having a good time? So what are we going to be talking about in this series? Well, really there are two elements that power collaborative storytelling. One of them is looking at system design. This is the structure of your world. It's how your NPCs behave, the laws and cultures that you set up, how player actions may lead to specific consequences. It's really the rules of engagement. And this can even include the specific system that you're using for your game, as well as house rules that you may develop. And then the second part that the game master is responsible for is looking at the content design. This is what the character creation looks like from the get-go, and the particular rules that you've set around that to help shape the individuals. Do they have backstories that are attached that you can weave into the world later on? What type of settlements have you crafted? What does the history look like of this world? It is the flavor and texture that brings your setting to life, and this should even be mirrored in the quest development. So the quest that you are creating should reflect all of these different aspects of the content that you've developed so that the players can utilize that and be part of the collaborative storytelling process with that content. And while this can appear somewhat overwhelming, which it can be when you are juggling world building and player dynamics and the mechanics of the game itself, it doesn't have to be. And during the course of this series, I am going to share some tools that I use to help ease the process, but I want to remind you that this isn't only on the shoulders of the game master. There are players that have agreed to come together and collaboratively play a game, and so they can take on roles too that can be very helpful, whether you have a cartographer and a lore master and a quartermaster, somebody that's tracking the calendar, someone that's tracking the kills that are occurring, because we like doing that. All of these roles can be fulfilled by players around the table to take a little pressure off the game master that is trying to orchestrate some pretty good storytelling. We are going to dive into the nitty-gritty and the details of all these things in upcoming videos. I just want to end today with saying that TTRPGs are about creating something together, whether it's a terse negotiation with an NPC or an epic battle that you are fighting, or even just a quiet moment of character growth. The best stories come from collaboration of all those around the table, and that's what we're going to be talking about throughout this series. So I hope that you're as excited as I am to explore this topic. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and tune in for the next video. Be sure to check out our Patreon, where we have a lot of free resources for game masters like you. Talk to you next time.
Dungeon